We have an application.
You're kidding, right?
Doesn't look too good, does it?
Yeah, that's what.
Shall we do something about it?
Yeah.
All right, so this time we are talking CSS. The purpose of CSS is to style
exactly. Like,
and to make things look good.
That's the
it's in the
name.
toolbox. Cascading style sheets. It's
Yeah.
right there.
It's the reason someone will look at your website, basically. Like, if something looks like that, I'm never going back. I'm sorry to tell you.
Okay. We need to put some data here so we can style it.
Yeah.
I guess the best way to do that is to just come here to the server code, and for now we can hard code.
Some, descriptions, yes. That's sticking, okay. Okay, let's rerun, go to Postman, and just send.
We don't need Postman now. We have the plus button working.
Oh, right.
So we can refresh the
Actually,
page and
yeah.
just hit the plus button sometimes.
That's good, yeah. I think that's enough to start
that's
styling,
enough to start.
let's say.
In fact, we have here for hello Yashas, and I believe we will need to restart the server many times as we change the styles. So for the sake of testing here, I'm going to go into
Create
the
an
server.
array and change the name.
Yeah, I'm just no, I'm coming here and just adding some items. So when the application starts, I am putting 4 items there.
Okay, already.
Yeah, that's a small hack. So we can reload the server
and have all of it together.
And we still have all the data there. So we don't have to click the plus
button
button every time. But we'll get rid of this before we commit,
Yeah.
unless I forget. Okay, let's put some CSS in this. We add CSS the same way we added JavaScript, by putting it in the HTML.
Tags, yeah.
And the tag is called style. And here we select some HTML elements and we say what we want to do with those elements.
Colors, text, font, stuff like that.
So with that, I have to ask you, you said that you would not come here to this application again. Why? What bothers you?
Everything.
Everything.
Like, what is right about this right
The first thing that bothers me...
Except data, okay.
The first thing that bothers me is the font.
No, left align.
Left align?
Yes.
You think it should be centralized?
Yes. This makes no sense to have it left aligned on a full browser screen. How long do you think your reminders are going to be? Or to-do items are going to be?
Fair. So I'll put the two side by side so we can see the code and the result. And okay, so we have a tag called body, right here, and everything is in the body.
Yep, everything is in the body.
And we can
just move it to the center.
Move it to the center. So text, align, center.
Yep.
And refresh both here. And when that's done, we'll refresh here as well. How do you like that?
That's off. Lists are off, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that it should be centralized. I think that it should be in the center of the page, but left aligned, with margins on the sides.
Oh yeah, actually that's what I meant. Sorry, yeah, my bad.
Yeah, so
not
this
text align. Yeah,
it is centralized. It really is centralized. But look at our sketch, our UI sketch. It appears on
it's a nice wireframe.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can think of it as centralized in my window. So it is still left aligned, but in the center.
Yep.
So we don't want to text align to the center because that would be centralizing everything.
Yeah, my bad.
That's not what we want. What we do want is we don't want the thing to occupy the whole page, right? Because as it stands, I can come here to the inspector and inspect these elements, and we see the text TODOOSE.
Yeah.
We see the text TODOOSE here in the center, but actually the element is taking the whole page.
Yeah.
Anyway, I can see everything here.
I don't think all of it. Like you can just go through the body.
Okay, that's good enough for now. No, it doesn't work like that. Oh, it works like this. Excellent. Okay, so you can see that the element that contains the text TODOOSE occupies the whole page. Well, to solve this, we can say that the body has a maximum length
of something,
or a maximum width.
Yep.
Why a maximum one, not a fixed one? Well, I could say the width of the body is 400 pixels. it would work.
What if I actually have a long sentence or a short sentence that gets stretched out?
Well, no, that's the size of the box in which you're putting the sentences. So if you have a long sentence, it's going to break lines.
Oh, yeah, I mean, like, if let's if it's 400 pixels and I am running this on, let's say, an iPod, I'm screwed.
That is the real problem. So let's try this out. We have a fixed width of 400 pixels, and now it only takes 400 pixels, okay? So you can see that the body is only taking the blue part of the screen. But watch what happens if I try to make the browser smaller. Here I'm using the responsive view to make everything smaller. So this is simulating what an iPod would be. Maybe there is even an iPod here in the list.
Safari has it.
Yeah, an iPhone 5 is good enough. Doesn't seem to be good enough though, because it does.
You can't see anything.
It does fit. No, it does fit. It fits the whole thing.
400 pixels is still quite a bit.
Yeah. But let's go here to responsive and just make things smaller and smaller, and then you can see that the blue part goes over.
Yeah.
So if we had some element that had more text, and I'll simulate this by hard coding some hello Yashes in a row here.
Yep.
And then you run into a problem because it wraps over the page, and you would have to scroll sideways, which is a nightmare.
Terrible, yeah. That's just bad design.
Yeah. So instead of saying that the width is fixed at 400 pixels, we can say that the maximum width is 400 pixels. So if your device is narrower than 400 pixels, it will be whatever it is.
Yep.
But if it's wider, as most devices are, it will be constrained to 400 pixels. This is something you have to keep in mind while you are developing your app, that the computer screens have different sizes, and phones have different sizes. So you have to think everything in terms of responsiveness, responsive design, which means you adapt the design to whatever screen you have.
A good way to do that, like to think about it, is to think of it in terms of scale, not pixels, not the number of pixels themselves, but scale versus the actual width of the screen. So you set any element by saying that I wanted to take 80% of the screen width. That way you never actually have to deal with screen width, and you still get your ideal UI design.
Perfect, yes. Yeah. That is a perfect mindset for things like the components of a page, like if you have a menu on the left and that sort of thing. Yeah. But in this case, since we only have one column, and
so it's straightforward,
and we are concerned with exactly the size of or really the length of the line. We don't want the lines to be too long. So in this case, I think it's fine to have a fixed 400 pixels. I think 400 will be okay.
Yeah.
And now we can refresh everything and see that if the device is smaller, it will work fine. If the device is wider, then it will, in this case here, you can see that the blue part is only taking part of my screen. So even if I go full screen, it's only taking part of the screen. But if I go to responsive mode, then it adapts.
Yep.
Or really, it should. It's not in this case. I have no idea why.
It does.
Yeah, but if I go narrower, it's not showing me that way. But this is a problem with this visualization. The idea is still working.
Yeah.
It's still going to work on a phone, let's say. But also, we want this not only to be constrained, but to appear in the middle of the page, right?
Yeah.
So there is a CSS trick. We can put a margin on the element. The whole body can have a margin.
Something on the left.
Yeah, we could have something fixed on the left, but we don't know what this fixed thing should be. What we really want is to have the thing in the center.
Yes.
So there is a trick. Well, there is a way for you to define a margin for all 4 sides. So in this case, it's 300 pixels on the top, right, bottom, and left.
Yeah,
all 4 sides. Or you can put a margin on the top and bottom, and another one on the left and right. That's another way of writing this. So this is going to have a top and bottom margin of 200 pixels.
And 300 for left and right.
Exactly. But we don't want this to be fixed. We want this to be auto.
Yep.
if you say auto here, the browser knows that you want to put automatic margins on the left and on the right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Here it will be top and bottom. Right?
Top and bottom. Yeah, it should be on the second guy. So here it will put automatic margins on the left and on the right, and the thing will be centralized but aligned to the left.
Yep.
And we don't really want a margin on the top and bottom, so we can say 0 here.
Yeah, that's right.
And then we refresh. And now we can see that it appears in the center, regardless of how wide the screen is.
Yep.
Great. Can we do fonts now?
Yes, please.
I don't like this font because it's the default, and I have nothing against Times New Roman. It's perfectly.
I have a lot.
It's a great font, really, and it fits many purposes, but it's widely used because it's the default.
Yeah.
So we should change that. And
it's widely used because people are lazy. I think that's the right way.
That's one reason why.
That's why I use it.
Yeah. So I have a trick.
Okay.
The trick is I could include my own fonts.
Yeah.
And that's something you can do. It's something called web fonts.
Yep.
But I'll do something simpler. I'll just use the font from the operating system. So here I'm using Mac OS. So this font right here is the font from my operating system, and this is my mockup.
Yeah.
And I want my application to look as much as possible like a native application. And also, I don't have to play with web fonts. I don't have to download them and find a good one and whatnot. So I can just say, please use the default font you would use for your operating system. And different operating systems have different fonts.
Different fonts, yeah, naturally.
So the trick is, I'm going to go to GitHub and inspect here the CSS from GitHub, and I'll copy this definition. Because the designers at GitHub, they spent some time figuring out what are the default fonts for all the operating systems. So you can see here that it starts with the Mac font, but it also includes some fonts from Windows, some fonts from, I think that some fonts here are from Linux. I don't know, I don't care. I trust that they did the work. I'm just going to copy what they have.
Open source.
And it seems like IntelliJ even knows about this idea because, they have some auto-completion things here. But I'm just going to copy whatever GitHub has and call it a
safe bet.
Yeah, call it a day. I think that this isn't looking exactly right. So I'm going to format it a little better. For fonts that have spaces in the name, it's better to use quotes. For fonts that don't have spaces in the name, it doesn't matter.
Here you need...
Oh, we have emoji.
Yeah.
We should try that.
Yeah.
I mean, we should try that when we get a chance to edit the to-do items, which is not the case right now. So with that, we'll refresh. This is okay.
It's better, to be honest.
It is okay. What's next? I think that this button could be really centralized. Or maybe...
Actually, top right.
You think that we should mimic this?
Yes. It's a wireframe for a reason.
I guess. Yeah.
So where else would you put it, actually?
I would put it at the bottom because I don't think this is good design, because when you click here, you actually go to the bottom.
Okay.
So suppose you have many items.
Yeah.
And then you are at the top.
Scrolled up.
And in their application, I think what happens is when you click the plus, you are actually sent to the bottom. I think that's how it works. That's what it does.
Yeah.
And it stays fixed here at the top.
Yep.
But to make things simpler, I think it would be better to just keep the plus where it is.
Okay.
And if the thing is too long, you have to scroll down to see the plus. But when you click the plus, the new item appears right next to where you clicked. So I think this is better. What do you think?
That's correct, but that also means that the plus button will get shifted every time a new item is created.
True. Which I think is a good trade-off. I think it's okay. So now we have a different element we want to style, and it's the bottom.
So one more thing here is that it's easy access if it's somewhere at the top. I realize that you're going down every time, but it's still easy access. Like, I don't have to go to my reminders app and scroll down every time I want to add a reminder. I do it from the top itself.
How about I meet you in the middle? Let's put 2 plus buttons.
I'm okay with that. I have an alternative. Instead of going down, add a reminder to the top. But that means shifting everything.
Yeah.
2 plus buttons it is?
New to-do items go to the top. And then the plus button stays at the top as well.
Yes. That way it circumvents your problem of it having to shift, like the plus button taking you to somewhere completely different in the UI, and it still adds something there, and the plus button is constant. Like constant in the sense that it's easily accessible no matter.
Okay, now we're splitting hairs, but I don't like this because when we think of a to-do list, we sometimes think things out of order, like a shopping list. I don't care if I'm getting rice and flour or flour and rice, but sometimes we think in fact, that's what we did right here. We thought of things in order. So I think that it should be in order. So what do you want? 2 plus buttons.
2 plus buttons.
2 plus buttons. I like this because it also shows something else that I want to talk about. So yeah, for now, to have 2 plus buttons, I'm going to just copy and paste this little guy right here. And
refresh and see if it works.
Yes, fair. Yeah, we have a plus at the top, a plus at the bottom. And I think it would be fair to put this plus next to TODOOSE and this one maybe centralized.
Yes.
Great. Because this shows another thing that I want to talk about, which is I want to style these 2 buttons differently. So if I wanted to have them exactly the same, I could say
just button, that's all. And
I can style it right here. But I want the 2 to be different.
That's not the case, You need an identifier now.
Yes, I need some way to identify these guys. One way to do it is to use a class name. A class name is just a name for an HTML element that we can use in CSS to access that item in particular and style just that item. So plus at the top.
Okay.
And this
also allows you to, let's say I have 2 UI items with the same class name and there's a third. So let's say I have 3 plus buttons, but I want 2 of them styled the same and 1 of them differently. And I can have the same class name for the 2 that I want the same, and I can just go ahead with that. Instead of unique identifiers and fixing. You can make it unique, but
so now we are not styling any button. We are styling the plus at the top. The plus at the top can float to the right, I suppose, because floating to the right will make it appear right around about here. And the plus at the bottom can be text align center.
Text align?
I don't think so. I think we need to say the margin trick. Margin
0 auto. Let's see. We'll find out. That's what CSS is. It's like hit in child for 50 times till you like something. So.
Okay, so the plus button is appearing at the right, but not next to TODOOSE. We can fix that. And the plus button at the bottom is not centralized. I think I know why. The plus at the bottom. So here's another thing.
It's at 400.
What is the problem?
So you put max width 400, right? So when you do float to the right, it sends it off to the margin there.
Oh yeah, that is what I wanted, really. I wanted it to appear at the rightmost of the app.
I thought you meant next to TODOOSE.
Well, that's not what happens here.
Yeah,
that's what I was going for.
Yeah. Okay, fair.
But this, and we'll fix this to put it next to
the top,
here. Yeah, we'll do that in a moment. For now, this guy is annoying me because it's not centralized. And I think I know why. So
why actually?
First, let's see how we don't have to change the CSS here every time and refresh everything every time.
You should do it in the browser first and then just.
If you want to experiment with something, you can do it in the browser first.
It's irritating rerunning servers like 50 times. I'd rather do it in the browser and see what's happening.
So yeah, the problem was this. You can see that I was editing the CSS here in the browser, and I can see the effects right away.
Yep.
The problem is that the button is not a block element, like a paragraph is a block element. Okay, so you can see that the list here is a block element, and the header is a block element, but the button is an inline element.
A thing. Okay.
It's like when you're writing text and you put something in italics or bold.
It's
that's inline.
A word in the sentence. It's not the sentence itself, basically.
Exactly, and that's the case of the button tag.
Yeah.
So maybe this will work, but there is another chance here. We can try to text align this to the center. Yeah, that doesn't work. So our solution really is to display block. Yeah. So this changes the display from inline, which is the default, to block.
Here, and then you can do. Okay.
And now we can refresh the whole thing. And the plus is at the center. And this guy
still looks odd.
It looks odd because it's floating to the right of the to-do list instead of floating to the right of the header. So what we can do to a quick and dirty way is just to reorder these two guys such that now the button appears first, then floats to the right, takes no space vertically, and then this guy is the title. It appears here. So yeah, this is iffy, but I think it will work.
It's a hack.
Yeah.
It's a hack. Okay. Refresh. Yeah.
Looks okay.
Okay.
Good enough for now.
Yeah. It's a good start.
It doesn't hurt the eyes. Yeah. And I think it looks good in different operating systems as well. It will look native because we are using the native font. Yeah. We are also using the native button.
Yeah.
So if I go to Safari, I think it will look different. No, it looks about the same.
Yeah, because it's using the native operating system font, not...
Well, but these buttons could be handled differently.
Yeah. No, I mean like text.
Yeah, and also the the font stack we are using has some special cases for Chrome, I suppose. I'm not exactly sure, but I think that this Blink Mac font system is something Chrome specific. In any case, there is one more thing I want to say about CSS before we leave.
Yeah.
Because for the next episode, we are going to do something different. And that is, as I was saying, there are different things in different browsers. And we, in this course, we only care about Chrome because we need one browser.
Yep. A standard platform for development.
Yeah, unless you want to make your thing work on all browsers, then go for it. But if you want to be specific and work with a single browser, you should use Chrome. But still, even Google Chrome in different operating systems may
work differently. Yeah.
They may look slightly different.
Yeah.
So there is a library in CSS to smooth out all these differences.
Really?
Yes. It's not trying to restyle your page. It's not going to change the styles on your page that much. But it tries to smooth out all the differences so that as much as possible, when you test things in Chrome, they will look the same in Firefox, Safari, and whatnot. This library is called Normalize CSS. And to use it, you just download it to the right place. So we are working on my computer, idea projects, TODOOSE, source, main, resources, public. And we can create a fold here for style sheet. And that looks good. Now in IntelliJ, here we can see that there is a new file in the source, resources, style sheets, normalize CSS. So here, before we even start with our style, we can say style source. I don't remember really.
I don't either.
MDN style tag.
Include style. MDN includes.
Include CSS in HTML. I give up. Whatever. Someone. This is the most basic thing ever. Internal CSS. No, external CSS. Yeah, finally. This is the tag I wanted. Yeah, it's not called style even. It's called link. And it's a style sheet, and it lives in style sheets normalize. And then we refresh the whole thing. Let's see if it will change the appearance here. I don't think it will. Oh, it did.
It did.
It did to some extent. The buttons are different. Yeah. And let's look at it in Safari. The buttons are different.
It looks better. It looked better before.
I think so.
That does not look good.
But is this guy really loading? Let's see. Yeah, it is. It is. So it seems to be doing its thing. And
I just don't like their choice of a button.
Yeah, so we can go either way. We can decide to use this to smooth out the differences in the browser because it is smoothing out the differences. Yep. I mean, this button, I think, will look the same in all other browsers, in all other operating systems, or at least similar.
Yep.
Or we can decide to not use it and just keep things simple.
Please, let's not use it.
Not use it?
I don't like that. I'm not kidding.
Okay, so...
Okay, how about this? We keep that line as a comment. When we add more functionality, if there's more changes to the UI, then we can see if we need consistency across different browsers. Right now, it's...
For this simple app...
I don't think so.
I think it will be fine.
Exactly. That's why.
I was saying this because if you do something slightly more complicated, like 2 columns or something, then it becomes a problem.
You need this, yes.
But you know what? We can get rid of this.
Yeah, I just don't like how the button looks. Sorry.
All right. So here you are, without normalize. I still recommend that you add normalize to your project if you are doing something more complicated.
Yeah.
But for the time being, this is good enough. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So this is something we should commit, right?
Yes.
I am learning from you.
Yeah.
But not everything. That much I learned from a previous episode. So the changes in the server we don't want to keep.
Exactly.
So here we can come here to revert and
that we want to keep.
Yes.
And add the version. Do we want that file?
No, we don't.
Yeah.
We will delete that.
Remove that.
Yes, I guess we can come here and delete it from here.
No.
Yeah, not that guy. So let's commit first.
Yeah.
The changes we want to commit are
that looks fine.
So
basic
styles.
style, yeah.
And it appears that...
Oh, you committed on master.
I think I did. I think I committed on master. Yeah. And also I think that the other file that was appearing in the change list is gone.
Yep.
But I committed to master, which is a problem. But I'm not going to deal with it right now. I'm just going to push and call it a day.
We know this works, so it's fine.
Yeah, I'm still working on that previous branch.
Okay. That's okay. That's still better than committing on master directly.
I think so. So let's see what we have here. Refresh this. Yeah, compare and pull request, start client. Well, the branch name isn't good, but at least the commit message is good, and the pull request will have some documentation. Also, when we delete the branch after we merge,
I forgot to.
We delete the branch. We come here to IntelliJ and checkout master. And delete the other branch, and no one will ever know that we had the wrong branch name.
Except for GitHub.
And except for everyone who's watching.
And the fact that there's an actual record on GitHub.
True. Okay, I think that I did.
Did you pull from master?
Yeah, we can do that, but it doesn't really matter. I mean,
done.
We have everything here. All the guys here. Looks good to me.
Yep.
On the next episode, we should think about something that is bugging me. We don't have data that persists across server runs, which is annoying because we need to put this hex to see some data on the screen and everything.
Yeah,
so for the next
we'll do that next time.
Let's fix this.
Yeah.
All right. See you on the next one.
See you.